Hi boys and girls, I'm Mr. Albrecht and this is Skills Unit 2, Lesson 12. Make sure that you have your Bedtime Tales reader available, you have your workbook, and you make sure to have that 11.3 worksheet we talked about in a past lesson so that it is prepared and ready to go, because we're going to pick up our lesson today right from that one. So the learning target today is I can write a draft of a book report. So we've done some planning. That's what that 11.3 worksheet helped you do, is to plan. I've got my plan done. I hope you do. So today we're moving into the draft phase. I can write a draft of a book report. So boys and girls, we're going to be writing a narrative book report on The Hare and the Hedgehog today. You have done the planning phase on worksheet 11.3. But the fun part that you get to do today is to take that plan and start to write a draft of a narrative book report. The trick with narrative book reports is, I should say the fun trick, is you get to add your opinion and thoughts about the story to your book report. You're not only retelling it, but you get to add those things to it as well. So take out that worksheet 11.3. Remember, it looked like this before you put your stuff on it. And we're going to use that to review our writing process and talk about where we were. We planned, and if you look at this, we planned, and then we are going to be in that drafting phase today. So you've done the planning on 11.3. We're moving into the draft. So since you have already planned, we're going to work on that draft. And if you look in your workbooks on 12.1, you're going to find a draft sheet. This draft sheet is going to help you build that book report. The first thing we need to do is to write a title. So if we look at the very top of that page, very top, it says title. Okay, so we're going to write that title right at the top, The Hare and the Hedgehog. All right, so next we would need a topic sentence. We would need to put in about our characters. That kind of starts us out because we want to tell the reader of your book report who are the characters in your story. So as your template here or your draft page on 12.1 has, it says the main characters are. So you would go in and talk about what the main characters are. Think back to The Hare and the Hedgehog. Who were our main characters? Don't get tricked up. Not Mrs. Hedgehog. She was a character, but she wasn't a main character, right? So we're going to think about the hedgehog and the hare. The wife is a character, but she wasn't a main character. So we think about that now, and we also want to think about the setting. Where did the story take place? That's in the second middle part of your paper. The tale takes place as your sentence starter. You would take that on and you would write whatever sentence you think fills that in to be the tale takes place. Look back in your reader if you need to and find out some key words that help you identify the setting for the story, The Hare and the Hedgehog, and how the hare tricked the hedgehog. Remember, they're two separate in our readers, but they're really one story. So we're going to be reporting about that, all of that. So after you've got the setting and where the story has taken place, you're going to be moving down into the plot. So we've got to think about what happens in the beginning, the middle, and the end. And if you look back at your worksheet 11.3, remember you separated that beginning, middle, and end with some things that happened in your story. Think about what happened at the beginning of the story. Wasn't the hedgehog making a plan to race the hare? That could be something you include in a nice sentence paragraph form on that worksheet of 12.1. So take a look. You're in this section. In the tale, you're talking about what happened. The word plot is there to help you think about the fact that you're explaining the beginning, the middle, and the end. So that is your section there. If you need more paper, because this is not a lot of room to write, but if you need more paper, grab another sheet of paper, start it on this page, and continue it on another page. So don't forget, as you're writing, to include words like first. First, this happened. Next, this happened. Then that happened. And finally, this happened. Those words are called temporal words, and they're going to make connections for your reader, and it spells out the story of how it happened. It sequences it from beginning to end. Now, we said at the beginning of this when we're writing a narrative book report that it is important to include your opinion or your impression of the story. What did you think about the hare and the hedgehog and how the hare tricked the hedgehog? And then your ending sentence should summarize what that report was about. So we're going to add, right after the plot, go ahead and add in your opinion, your impression of the story, and then your ending sentence should summarize, you're going to kind of wrap it all up into what the report was about. You remember, you're going to probably say something along the lines of, this was about the hare and the hedgehog. A great story. You know, something along that lines that you could put in writing at the end of your narrative book report. Now, a couple other things to keep in mind as you're writing. And you can practice this on your draft, but then we will go through the editing phase together. But on your draft, you want to remember that a sentence always starts with a capital letter and ends with punctuation. Even my sentence here, capital A, punctuation at the end. I want to make sure that I'm doing that as well in my writing. Don't forget that first sentence of a paragraph is indented. Notice how my first word is all the way in here and my other words come back out. That's an indent. And a good rule of thumb is to take your thumb and put it on the paper as you're writing. So if you find that line along the edge or even the edge of your paper and you move in with your thumb, then you can start writing right on the other side of your thumb for that first sentence. Notice if I had a giant thumb and I put it right here, it would be pushed over and I would start my sentence there, but my next, the continuation of that sentence comes down back to the beginning of my thumb. So I would have an indentation right there, okay? That's two important skills that you want to practice in writing this narrative book report. You can look back to your individual code charts to help you with spellings. You want to focus on spelling as you're writing because you don't want to have to do so many edits there. Practice your best handwriting and your best spelling. And this slide is just reminding you, you have those individual code charts to look back at as a reference tool. All right, boys and girls, hopefully you are going to be able to say when you're done drafting is that I can write a draft of a book report. Use your best handwriting here because it's going to make editing it that much easier. This has been Unit 2, Lesson 12. I'm Mr. Albrecht, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye-bye.